And welcome back to episode number 10 of Random Ear Candy. I am here today, or let me think. We are here today. I have Miss Sweet Pea.
Hey, y'all.
I have Pickle.
Hey, how you doing?
I have Pop-Tart.
Hello.
And I have French Fry.
What's up?
How are y'all doing today?
We're great.
We're
doing fantastic.
How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
That's good.
Are y'all ready to get this show started?
I am.
Oh, yeah.
Are y'all ready to have a conversation?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's have that conversation. And we are going to get this episode started with your favorite, This Day in History. And as always, the day of this recording, well, that's not always the day of this recording, but
Not
the
always.
day of this recording is September the 12th.
Yes.
And on this day in history, on September the 12th,
What happened?
in 1990. Well, a lot happened
Hey,
on
that's not that long ago.
a lot happened on September the 12th.
Mom was born.
Making y'all sound old.
A lot happened on September the 12th, but in this particular year, 1990, something was banned in Australia.
What?
What do y'all think was banned in
Parrots?
Australia?
Hot air balloons.
Shoot.
Shoes.
All right.
I said shoes.
Following a number of high-profile deaths and many other injuries, bungee jumping was banned in Australia in 1990.
I don't blame
not
them.
bungee jumping.
I think that is very sad.
I think it's a great idea. I wouldn't do it.
I've bungee
I
jumped.
want to try it
I
one
would
day.
move.
I've done it. I've enjoyed it, and I feel sorry for the people in Australia.
I think
haven't
it's
done
a great
I haven't done it
protection.
yet, but I'd be sad because I want to.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if that's actually really still a thing. If
I think you should have looked that up.
Is bungee jumping? I mean, it said it was banned in 1990, but I wonder if it really still stands today.
Oh, like
if they're
if they
smart,
still
it
hold
still
that to them?
stands.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of find that hard to believe.
It's crazy.
But anyway, all right. Moving on. This day in history, September the 12th, 1992. The first African American woman goes into space.
Whoa, who was that?
That's pretty neat.
Her name
Yeah,
was May C. Jemison. She was actually a doctor,
Oh, that's cool.
and
It's nice.
she was a mission specialist on STS-47,
That's awesome.
which actually was the 50th space flight of NASA's space shuttle program.
That is so
How long
cool.
was she in space?
And it
long
says she
time.
spent over 190 hours in space, and while she
Grief.
was there, she was conducting experiments on weightlessness and motion sickness. So
Ew.
she was a
Hopefully-
a big contributor to what they experience now in space.
Hopefully she didn't
I
have
think I've
motion
actually read
sickness.
some stuff where a lot of what they know now about weightlessness
Yeah.
and motion sickness came from her research and study. So
Really?
that's pretty cool.
That is neat.
All right, one more for this day in history. On this day in history, September the 12th, 2003, the
Yes.
American singer-songwriter, guitarist, and actor, Mr. Johnny Cash, passed away.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, wow.
2003. Johnny Cash
That was the year before I was born.
left this world.
I never knew him.
I didn't know him personally,
I guess you didn't.
but I knew of him
Yeah.
quite a bit. So, anyway, all right. Moving on to the topic of today's conversation.
Let's do it.
And this is actually part number 2.
Yeah.
Because we had this topic in our earlier episode, and I'm not sure what episode that was, but that episode was titled Old Wives' Tales.
It was a lot of fun.
And we had a lot of fun things to bring to the table and talk about. But that episode skyrocketed in views, and we got some feedback, and we decided to continue that conversation until today.
Old Wives' Tales
So-
Part 2.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this will be Old Wives' Tales Part 2. And I think we should start with the ladies in the room. Miss Sweet Pea,
Oh,
course.
mine is so cool.
do you have something to contribute to
I have
today's
2.
conversation?
Can I do 2? Or should I just do 1?
You know what? This is your world. We're just living in it. So
Right. Well, I'm really excited about this one because we live in the country, and this is something I've heard my, Chip talk about from time to time. This old wives' tale says cows lie down when it's about to rain. Have y'all heard that?
I have.
Yeah, I have heard it.
I actually kind of believe that, to be honest.
I still believe it.
Have you, babe?
I've never heard that.
I kind of believe
You've
that
never
song.
heard that?
Nope, never have.
Well, I guess it wasn't you then, but I know I've heard it. So this has been something I've heard many times, but it says it's kind of like mixed reviews. It says sometimes, yeah, cows are lying down when it's about to rain, and it could be plausible that that maybe they can somehow sense that it's about to rain due to like atmospheric pressure, and their bone structures are like kind of microporous and stuff and can rapidly absorb moisture. But they said more than likely it's just because they're trying to chew their cud or something. So, and this is from the website livescience.com.
So what's the actual answer?
Like, is it real?
Is it myth or is it?
It's kind of like maybe, maybe not. They don't really have proof one way or the other.
Well, I still think it's true.
What makes you think that?
Well, I think that cows might purposely lie down in the rain to keep themselves dry.
Well, they won't stay dry if they lie down, but they might be more comfortable. I mean, they might not want to walk around in the mud.
All right, so that's got me thinking in a totally different direction. So what was the original myth?
Cows lie down when it's about to rain.
When it's about to rain. So they're sensing that the rain is coming.
Yes.
So they would lie down. Okay.
Supposedly.
So that's got me, I mean, no disrespect to your myth, but it's got me thinking in another whole direction that I want to ask.
Okay.
You always hear old people say
yeah.
that, oh, my bones hurt
Mm-hmm.
when it's
they're
about to
getting
rain.
old.
All right. I did not look anything about this up.
I saw something, but I didn't really read it.
So you're thinking, or I'm thinking, or somebody has thought that cows can sense when weather is coming. Mm-hmm. I just want to ask y'all's opinion. How accurate do you think that is when people say that I know when the weather's changing, or I can feel the rain? Do you think they really can tell that it's about to rain? Do you think their bones really start hurting?
No.
Opinions.
No.
For one thing, bones don't even hurt. It's the nerves around your bones that hurt. So
Well, but you know what he means. I really think it is true because I feel like that I ache when it's about to rain. I feel like I'm already getting arthritis.
So obviously we haven't looked anything on this up,
No,
but what would be your scientific reasoning behind that?
I don't know. I think it might have something to do with the pressure in the atmosphere.
I mean, that would be the only
barometric
thing that I
pressure.
could liken to, atmospheric pressure. And I mean no disrespect, but I've always had a hard time not rolling my eyes when I hear somebody say, oh, the weather's moving in, my bones are aching or hurting. So I'd like to know if there was really scientific proof, and maybe that's something we can look in and talk about at another time. So Pop-Tart, did you have an old wives' tale that you wanted to share?
Yes, I actually did.
All right, what's yours?
So, this is one that Sweet Pea has always been faithful in using.
Okay, what is it?
Vicks Vapo Rub does not work whenever you rub it on the nostrils, neck, or feet.
What?
Wow.
Okay,
You
okay.
gotta be kidding
okay,
me.
so you're telling us that it does not work?
Yes, it does not work.
Okay.
Where did
and
you get that from?
Where'd you get that information?
Allspecs.com.
This makes me excited because
Mm.
I think I'm fixing to get to brag a little bit. But go ahead. Where'd you get it?
So this is actually found from the website oldwivestalesbuster.com.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, then that's
I'm
definitely
crushed.
that's definitely a credible source.
Sounds
That's kind of a relief
legit
to me because now I don't have to do that anymore.
So,
Well, I don't know about that.
So let's talk about this for a little bit. Sweet Pea, give us your faith and trust in Vicks Vapor Rub.
I mean, it's so strong. It's got to be doing some good. I just feel like that it helps.
Might as well
I
go
don't
sniff
know.
gasoline. That's
Now,
strong too.
one thing
No, we don't want to go sniff gasoline.
one thing it does do, if you do have a stopped up nose, I think it can help clear up a nose.
Yeah.
But I
But
think that's just because it has
that's-
the menthol
You
in
could
it.
I've
That's
heard
the
you can put
only
it on your
thing.
feet.
Okay, so I know that throughout most of my married life, Sweet Pea has, anytime I was feeling stuffy or congestion in my chest, she would beg me to rub and slather this stuff on the bottom
It
of,
helps me.
on the bottom of my foot and then wear socks.
It helps.
And I've always wondered, if I have congestion in my chest and I'm having a hard time breathing and I'm coughing up junk, how in the world is slathering some gooey, sloppy, Vaseline texture stuff on the bottom of my foot and wearing socks to bed going to break that up? I can't even, I don't even know how that would work.
Okay.
So I am
can't
so
even do
glad.
the
Hold on. I want Pop Tart to read that again, just so we are hearing him right.
Ugh.
Okay, this says that rubbing Vicks Vapor Rub on your throat and on your feet and nostrils
thank
does
you.
not work. It does
Thank
more
you.
harm than good.
Thank
Well-
you
More
so
harm.
much.
So
I
it
don't
does
know.
harm to you.
I think this is.
I've never been
Okay, that's
harmed by
crazy.
it.
I think this is settled.
I don't know.
I think we can get rid of all. Okay.
It's a closed book.
This
I'm
should be
skeptical.
this is gospel now in our family.
I hate Vicks Vapor Rub.
We know.
I hate it.
I second
I
that.
don't want it on my chest. I don't want it under my nose, and I definitely don't want it on my feet wearing socks in bed at night. Can we all just make a pact right here that we're going to go through the house and throw out every
No.
container of
Can we
Vicks
all
Vapor
just
Rub?
say
Where do
This
I
is too
sign?
sudden.
socks and that Vicks Vapor Rub greasy substance do not mingle well in bed?
For one thing, I hate socks on my feet laying in bed. I've never worn socks on my feet.
Me
That's
too.
a different
And
subject.
I'm not about to put
Greasy.
some greasy stuff and then socks on top of that. That's just a terrible
Because you wake up and
combination.
it's still there.
All right. Thank you, Pop Tart, for bringing this up
I'm not thankful.
and proving what I already knew was true.
Exactly.
Thank you. All right, French fry, what you got?
Well, so I have two of them as well.
Oh, well, nobody's had two yet.
You can
Go
only
ahead.
do one.
Well, I thought Sweet Pea had two.
Just
No, she
read
didn't.
one.
Okay,
What you got?
anyway. So the first one is cracking your knuckles causes arthritis.
Is that true?
No, this comes from virtua.org. It says you will not get arthritis from cracking your knuckles. At worst, you might experience temporary swelling or feeling of weakness in your hands. So you can crack away all you want.
Well, that's another myth that I heard growing up, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't really believe it, to be
Was
honest.
told not to crack my
in the first
knuckles.
place, but
I actually just watched me and Pop Tart actually just watched a YouTube video on this about what 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
And what did that video say?
It told about this man, and he actually only popped one hand until he was like 60 years old, and then he got both of his hands checked, and they were both arthritis free.
Yeah, but I do remember that part, but I remember them saying that it was just air
Yeah,
in your
it's
joints.
it's just a bunch of air bubbles in your joints.
Yeah, and that when you go to pop, somehow it stretches that air bubble out.
Yeah, it stretches your joints to force the air bubble out.
Right. So
That's interesting.
anyway, I knew that was true because that video that we just watched,
yeah.
that guy like Pop Tart said, that guy popped just one hand.
That's some
for how-
dedication.
for how many years?
About 60 years ever since he was
That's a
like
long
10.
time.
60
That's a
years.
long
just
time.
to prove a scientific fact.
I want to say, how built up would it? How
Yeah, they
much
should-
would his hand need to be popped?
Yep, I don't know.
All right, so my second one is people believe that you eat spiders in your sleep.
I have heard that.
I have heard that. It says
I've never heard that.
I have.
Okay, so it says there is no like hard evidence that is true, but if it
I'm
is
relieved.
even the tiniest bit, spiders would not be inclined to crawl into their predator's mouth.
Yeah. Well,
Also we are always turning in our sleep, so it'd scare them off. If
didn't
that
know.
was even a tad bit
I remember
true.
when I first heard that, and it really grossed me out. So I'm relieved to know.
This is saying more likely it's not true than it is.
I've never even heard anything like that.
I'm shocked. I thought we had talked about that one time.
I never heard that, but since we're on the topic of spiders, I do know what they do like to do while you sleep.
What?
So I remember it was a while back, probably a year or so ago. I got up one morning, and I keep a pair of moccasins, like house shoes,
Oh, yeah, I
like
remember
slippers,
this.
right by the edge of my bed. And it had been a while since I had worn them slippers. And I remember getting out of bed, and it was still dark in the room, pitch black actually. I couldn't see anything. But I knew right where my moccasins were.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be ever so quiet. And I went to slip my foot in one of those moccasins. The first one went on fine with no problem.
Yeah.
I went to slip my foot in the second one. My foot went all the way in very slowly. And as I finished putting my heel down in that moccasin, I could literally hear a big splat. Like it went like
No.
it went like kind of a popping sound.
Like juicy.
Like a big juicy popping sound.
That's disgusting.
And I thought I knew right at that very moment that I had just stepped on a big
Y'all
spider.
had made contact.
And I was like, man, what do I do? Anyway, I remember pulling my foot out, and I had this big, huge, gooey, wet spot in the bottom of my
This is
moccasin.
TMI.
Yum.
Yo, I want to say this. I
handle
want to
this.
say this spider was like the size of a quarter,
No.
and I killed him.
So do you think twice now about putting your house shoes on
Yeah,
in the
so
dark?
I don't know how I really went to that from eating spiders.
That was a rabbit
But
hole.
I do know that it is true that spiders will crawl in your house shoes at night while you sleep.
Yeah, they might not crawl in your
Dude.
mouth, but they'll go in your house
That's
shoes.
sick.
Just
Your
as bad.
toes were mingling with the spider.
No,
Not long.
well, no.
Not
his
for
heel.
long.
It didn't last long.
Who should we go to now?
Pickle, what do you got?
Okay, so I have Old Wives' Tale from goodhousekeeping.com. The Old Wives' Tale is...
You've been reading those girl websites. Good Housekeeping. I remember.
I just
Hey,
looked
you
up
know what?
something.
Learning how to be a
Hey,
good housekeeper.
I remember when Good Housekeeping was a magazine that
magazine.
my mom got.
Yep.
So
Okay,
we
so-
know what you
yeah.
read online.
Yeah. Okay, well, I actually went on that website. Maybe I could do it. I went on the website because I tried to find something that Mom used to preach to me, something that I could
Oh
prove
boy.
wrong to her.
Here we go.
Well, I like
So-
these kind. Go ahead.
Yeah, me too. That's why I chose it. Okay, the Old Wives' Tale is being cold will give you a cold.
Oh, I already know the answer to this because I've argued this point with my mom.
So
Go
what?
ahead.
It's false.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I know.
Whatever.
I
It's
know.
like you go out, you go out in the cold sometimes, and you're like, "Oh, put on your coat. You're gonna catch a cold."
Yeah.
No, that's completely false.
Yeah. You know what else?
The bottom line is you only get sick when you're exposed to a virus or bacteria.
You know what else goes right along with that?
But
Going outside with wet hair.
I know. I read that one too.
Will not give you
I know.
a head cold.
And that's something I grew up hearing.
Going outside barefooted in the frost or in the snow.
I mean, the
will-
worst-
will not give you a head cold.
I mean,
The
my
worst
teeth
you
like
can
at
get
night,
frostbite.
though.
Yeah.
You know what gets me? I wonder way back when all these things came to be or started being talked about, if these things have been scientifically proven to be busted, these myths are now been proven to be busted, what made these people start talking about these things in the first place? Did they just dream these things up? I mean, what?
No, a lot of it
where
was
did
based
come
in
from?
superstition or
probably,
just
like-
lack of knowledge.
They probably like went outside, got a cold,
yeah.
Pure
and,
chance
and then
came
like,
back
oh,
in.
maybe I shouldn't
and
have
just
gone
thought
outside.
it was going to be that way every time.
But how did it get carried down through time for so long? And people people believe this stuff like it's gospel.
Well,
like, I could go argue
People
with
still believe it.
I
in
could go
places.
argue with my mom right now that if I went outside, if she went outside with wet hair or went outside barefooted in the cold weather, I think she wholeheartedly believes that she would be down
All
with the
grandmas
flu
do.
the next day.
She might would surprise you though, because she'd already quit using peroxide, and you didn't think she would believe that one from last time.
Hey, actually, real quick about the peroxide. I know this is kind of going off topic, but I work at a supermarket, and of course, I'm always stocking shelves and stuff. Well, one of the things I pulled out of a box was peroxide, and it said on it for use of body use of healing cuts and bruises and stuff.
Oh, I love it.
And I
Even
thought
the
that was very
companies.
funny, considering.
I'm going to count that we need to keep
Even
using
the
it.
companies are deceived.
From a serious standpoint, though, you have to think peroxide is not going to all of a sudden change their label just because a few articles came out or just because a scientist said that it's going to do more harm than good.
They're going to go with what the majority believes.
Well, not just that. They have so much money invested. I mean, they have marketed this in such a way for years.
Yeah.
They're not all of a sudden. I mean, they can't change their marketing. They don't want to
lose money.
I mean, if they change their marketing structure to this is not good for humans, Johnson & Johnson goes out of business, right? I mean, don't go out of business, but the peroxide comes to an end. There's too much invested in peroxide for this all of a sudden to flip a switch and everybody in the world just stops using peroxide.
I'll probably still use it, though.
I ain't going to be buying more of it.
Not happening. So. But, all right.
What about you,
Pop-Tart, did you have another one?
Yes, I did. And this is another thing that our mother always preached to
I'm
us
getting picked on.
when we
Okay.
were sick.
All right. What is it?
There we go.
She always said, eating chicken soup when you have a sore throat or are sick, then that will not cure it, but it will help your sickness.
All right. So what is the outcome of that?
That is actually false. Chicken soup does not help at all with your sickness.
You surprised me.
Where did you hear that from?
I heard this from Best Life, 25 Old Wives' Tales that people still believe.
I know, but I think I saw that.
What is the exact wording? Does it say it will not help, or does it say it will not cure? Do you remember?
Okay, it says, this is just one of the many old wives' tales that tackles how people cope with a cold. And unfortunately, it is not really true. When you are sick with a cold, slurping down some chicken noodle soup will certainly smooth your sore throat and mask your symptoms of short while. But it will not actually cure your illness. That's all.
So it does help you feel better. It just doesn't get rid of your cold.
Temporary, right.
I think that is.
So I'm still doing a good thing when I make you chicken noodle soup.
I think that's the key point. It masks the symptoms, and I do think that people maybe in the past thought that it did cure.
There probably are still some people who do think that.
But I do remember, as well as Sweet Pea reading, that it's not going to cure your
cold, but it will help you feel better.
Right.
They said it only works temporarily, though.
I do remember seeing something in an article a couple of years ago, and they were, I can't even talk much to this point, but there was something in chicken itself.
I remember seeing something too.
Something in the chicken, which would go to the chicken broth, that actually did fight the common cold virus.
Right.
I'm with you.
I can't talk to it much,
I
but
feel like I've seen that.
I do remember reading that there is something in chicken noodle soup, in a very small dosage, that would fight the common cold virus. So, but that's very interesting, and I do think that people still put too much confidence in chicken noodle soup.
Probably.
For sure.
So, Sweet Pea, you had another one?
I do. This one is so interesting. You guys are not going to believe this. I've never heard of this. Placing soap under your sheets will prevent fidgety legs.
Never heard
I've
of
never
that.
heard that in my life.
That
Have y'all
sounds
ever
disgusting.
heard of restless leg syndrome?
Yes.
My
Yes, I have.
mama had that. So this says, as strange as this tale sounds, there is a lot of anecdotal evidence to back it up. Not scientific, but just reports of it actually working. Many people have posted on online health forums and they said it worked for them. They said they put an unwrapped soap bar under their sheets and it cures them of nightly leg cramps.
Any certain brand?
Well,
Dove.
I'm not seeing a certain brand on, but you know what? The Dr. Oz show even talked about it. And he recommended placing a bar of lavender soap under your bed sheets to alleviate restless leg syndrome. And his thinking there was that the smell of lavender would be relaxing and beneficial. And there's no like scientific stuff, but there's been like, I don't know, even a talk show host did it and took a poll.
Let me ask this. Just because, in my lack of knowledge, what is actually the symptom of restless leg syndrome?
Your legs just jerk uncontrollably and sporadically. You don't really have control over it. It's not like it doesn't have to be all the time, like every second, but it keeps you awake.
Because the only thing that I can relate to is if I'm lying in bed and I go to stretch like in the middle of the night and like I stretch my leg out as far as I can, it starts to violently shake and I have no control over it.
I know. I've noticed that you do that, but I don't think that's the same thing.
So that's not the same thing.
I think it's the restless leg syndrome. I think is more related to maybe circulation or something.
Okay.
That's odd, though.
I've
I thought it was
heard
strange.
of that. I can't wrap my head around
I can't see what it would do to
how
help.
that would
Yeah.
help.
Other than the smell, but you could just use air freshener. So.
Yeah, you could just get lavender
or
scented.
people could do what's
laundry
the big
spray.
popular, what's the big popular thing that
Diffuse
everybody
some
does?
oils or
Yeah,
something.
the big essential oil.
Yeah.
Wouldn't your sheets get like really wet if you
No,
put
it's
soap
wrapped
underneath
up
them?
still.
No, it's not wet. It's still in the wrapper. That's
just
why.
smell
That's
like
another
soap.
reason why I thought that was weird. It's still in the wrapper.
Yeah.
Soap also, bar soap
Oh, and
isn't
that was
wet
from that
either.
same website that I
Unless
talked about
it's
earlier.
I
got
guess
water on it.
I guess I would have to say that if I ever was diagnosed with restless leg syndrome, that I don't guess it would hurt to try it.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything, but it's kind of weird.
I don't understand how it would work.
I know. Me
Yeah,
either.
I don't think it's true.
I don't know. Pickle, did you have another one?
I did not, but I think you had one.
I did have one, but I was saving mine till last.
Okay, well, I think
it's time.
we're at that spot.
We're at that spot.
I
Yeah.
believe
Why
so.
not?
Are y'all ready for the
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
excited about this part.
I
All right.
still think that Vicks Vapor Rub was the best.
Well,
As of
You
now,
gotta wait and
yes.
see what Dad has.
As of now, it's the best, but we'll see.
I do appreciate that, Pop Tart. I'm glad someone brought scientific truth.
Yes.
I don't know if I
Facts.
believe it.
And the
I
bit
just
with
wonder.
socks and
I wonder
I'm
how many
skeptical.
people. I wonder how many people you are going to convince
how many lives
to
you're going to
stop
change.
using Vicks Vapor Rub.
This is a life changer for
You know
a lot
what?
of people.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vicks Vapor Rub, if they ever heard this podcast, if they contacted us and asked us to
Take it down.
delete this episode.
they're like, "You're
because this
killing
could
our
be
business."
very tragic.
Well,
to
I
them.
They
don't-
could
I
lose
don't think that's gonna happen.
99.99% of their
You
customers.
could change the
Who
world.
owns Vicks Vapor Rub? Is that Johnson & Johnson?
I
Does
don't
everybody
know.
Mr. Vicks.
I don't know.
No, it's not.
Oh, I bet.
I don't know.
Read
All
your
right,
stuff.
moving on. Here we go. We had some feedback. Not feedback. We had a request from an individual. This individual's name was Connor, and Connor is from Ohio. And Connor wanted to know if we could talk about Sasquatch, or maybe better known as Bigfoot. So I thought,
Bigfoot the Magnificent.
why not bring it up?
Yeah,
Why not talk about it? Because
it's a mystery.
y'all, I don't even know if it's a mystery. It sounds like it could be a thing.
Serious.
So
Oh boy.
I guess there maybe are a few out there who would not know who Bigfoot was. But so just in case someone is listening that doesn't know, Bigfoot is commonly referred to as a large, hairy, human-like creature, believed by most people to exist in the northwestern United States or even maybe in western Canada.
Yeah.
But there have been many sightings.
Oh,
Did y'all know there have actually been sightings of
video
Yeah.
footage.
Bigfoot?
There's people out there looking for him.
I tell
It's
you
crazy.
what, there was a British explorer named David Thompson, and he's actually credited with the first discovery of Bigfoot in 1811.
Whoa, that's a long time ago.
Yep. And since then, they said hundreds and hundreds of footprints have been found.
I have a question really quick. 1811 was the first sighting. So is the same Bigfoot still alive, or is
I
he
knew-
over 200 years
I
old?
knew you were going
That's
there.
a good
Is he over,
question.
that's an old
You know
Bigfoot. I mean,
I knew that was going to be the next question.
just say, it doesn't sound like he'd be getting around much more.
So I knew that was going to be the next question. Anyway, it says Bigfoot ranges anywhere from 6 to 15 foot tall.
Whoa, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
wow.
stands erect on both of his feet, and they said much of the time he gives off a very, very foul smell.
Ew, people
Okay,
got close
yeah.
enough to know that.
They said he can move very, very silently. In fact, you can't even hear him moving when he
I
moves.
need to do that with big feet.
When he moves through the woods, and he often emits a very high-pitched cry.
Probably like a cougar
Like
or
a
something.
cougar screaming or something.
So
Or a peacock.
I tell you what,
That's scary.
there, Connor, if you're listening to this episode, I have to ask why you brought this up, and it makes me wonder
Has he seen
if
Bigfoot?
if Connor has had a sighting.
Ooh.
And I'm afraid that Connor was just maybe
Testing the waters.
Well-
Sharing his feelings.
Well, no, maybe Connor didn't want to just come out and say
Yeah, 'cause
that he saw
some
Bigfoot.
people think it's
Some
crazy.
people, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Some people think Bigfoot is just a myth,
Like me.
right?
Yeah.
Some people think Bigfoot is just a myth, and I can understand when the majority of people think something, you don't want to be the person on the other side of the fence.
Right.
So Connor, I feel you, but I'm telling you, it sounds legit. It sounds real. I can't agree or disagree, but I'm gonna say there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of evidence. It makes a person wonder. It really does.
So if it's so true, well,
no,
okay,
I
not
didn't
so
say-
true.
I didn't say it was
if
true.
there might be evidence, how come you don't ever see it like blown up in the news or anything?
Well, you do.
You do if you go to the right website.
I tell you what.
The right website, like on Fox News or CNN or
No,
anything,
let
you
me-
don't
no,
ever see
that's-
it popping up.
That's political news.
Let me tell you something. There are many YouTube videos out there. There are many photos out there. I tell you what, if you want to see Bigfoot,
Type it in.
you don't have to go very far.
Another thing-
you can see pictures of
Most
Bigfoot.
of the photos I've seen of Bigfoot are really blurry. Like you can't hardly even get
Hey,
him.
Because
hey,
he's always on the move.
I have a feeling it's the same people that are seeing the Loch Ness monster.
Hey, have you ever seen
Yes.
it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm.
Let me ask y'all a question. I can tell that y'all are very much in doubt.
Skeptical.
Okay.
Oh, no,
I'm getting this vibe that y'all are in doubt. But let me ask you:
Shocker.
have y'all read anywhere where it has been disproved?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Then how can you be so certain that it's not real?
Well,
Just have a gut feeling.
I'm just gonna say I can't
Mom
believe till I
magic.
see it for myself.
Because everything you're going off of is very sketchy. Like the photos are blurry. It may or may not be true.
The fact that he's over 200 years
Alright.
old.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
so
right. So true story. True story.
Oh, you
Unless
saw
there's a
him?
Mrs. Bigfoot and now they have a baby Bigfoot
maybe there's a whole
All right.
family of Bigfoots.
colony.
Big feet?
All jokes aside,
Plural.
true story. I worked with a guy offshore back in my oil and gas offshore days.
Yes.
I'm not going to mention names, but I can say with 100% certainty that he believed in Bigfoot.
Did he see him?
And he thinks that, or he, at that time, he thought that he had heard Bigfoot. while he was in the woods hunting.
Really?
In our state?
Yes, and he was
I thought he lived up north.
No, he did all these exotic hunts. In other places
okay.
in the
Oh,
country.
okay.
But he was, and I will say, when he got on these conversations, I would silently just kind of roll my eyes on my head. I never let him see that, but
Right.
but
Hopefully he won't listen to this
really got
podcast.
into, I think at one time several years ago, there was actually a show on the Discovery Channel called Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I've heard
I remember
of it.
hearing about that.
And what was so really made it unbelievable, if you had any doubt, this kind of cleared it up. In every episode, this group of men would almost find Bigfoot. Like, they would spend the whole episode looking and looking, and they would almost find
That's
him.
the way to keep the watchers
all the way
hooked.
down to the very
Sweet.
end of the episode, they would almost get the
That's probably a setup.
Is it a series?
the photograph, and right at the last minute, something would happen.
That
Oh,
lets you know
surprise,
it's a setup.
surprise.
Like they would be ready to snap the picture, and a limb would fall out of the tree and break their
So
camera.
Where'd
this
that
was
come
a
from?
series, though, right?
Yeah, I already said that.
Oh.
And
I bet.
anyway, he was really caught up in this Discovery, this Discovery Channel series.
It's probably still going on. Their cameras are probably still breaking right
Finding
now.
Bigfoot,
They're in the pit.
and he really believed it 100% with his whole heart. He believes that Bigfoot exists.
Well,
But you know what? I'm with Connor. I think there might be.
You got to believe in something.
I think secretly somewhere in Connor's heart that he thinks that Bigfoot is real.
he might.
And I
might believe it wholeheartedly,
I
actually.
don't want to be the one to crush that.
to burst his bubble.
I don't want to be the one to burst his bubble. And
I volunteer.
you know what? I can't prove. I cannot prove either way. I know there's some mighty big creatures in the woods. I think there's creatures in the woods that we've never seen. Who's to say there's not a Bigfoot? So, hey Connor, that was a great That was a great suggestion.
It was.
It sure was. So, hey, let us know. Anybody out there, let us know if you've seen Bigfoot, or if you've heard Bigfoot.
Send us pictures.
Or if you
Drop
have
a
proof that
comment.
he's not real.
Send us a picture of Bigfoot.
Maybe we'll post it on the page if it's
Yeah,
original.
we'll post it on the page if we think it deserves
I
it.
tell you what, if you send us an original photo that you took personally and you think it's Bigfoot,
We can't tell.
we will put you front and center on our social media page, and we will give you a shout out.
We might
Yeah.
start believing, or continue believing. My
Who,
bad.
who says we don't believe?
Watch it,
Who
pickle.
says we don't believe? I'm not taking us out here.
Okay.
But
All right. Anybody else? Was
No.
that all?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, we're done.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. You know what? This was our first episode of us all together in here.
Yay, it was
Yes,
fun.
sir.
Yeah,
I
I loved it.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
It
I
was
had a
Me
great
too.
time. I enjoyed this conversation. All right, guys, out there in the audience, don't forget, give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing.
Send us some suggestions.
Drop a comment.
Talk to us.
Like our pages.
Let us know all those kind of
and
things.
stream us a lot.
Hey, we enjoyed today. We enjoyed having that conversation. Y'all go pull somebody to the side and have that conversation too. We'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Toodles.
Toodles.